Welcome to Online Business Education with your host, Bob Caspi. This module is about selling stock to raise capital. There are many ways to sell stock. Three that I'll look at are selling to angel investors, selling to the traditional venture capital investor, and issuing stock options and warrants. Angel investors typically make small investments of under $100,000 each. These are typically individual investors who have an interest in you and your industry. Sometimes they can be intrusive, but often the investment process is easier and less formal in structure. Venture capitalists have grown to be highly structured and use complicated contracts to engage with their investments. Typical investments can range from $500,000 to $3 million. The contracts are highly structured. The investors are typically corporations that are managing venture funds, and the terms can be odious, and it's important for you to carefully read and understand the agreements that they present. Stock options and warrants, which are similar, with the exception that stock options are handled under specific tax laws that have advantages for employees. Stock options and warrants typically represent less than 5% of the company's equity, and their use is to motivate a vendor, employee, or customer to act in the best interest of the company. They're not for raising capital, and preferential prices are typically given to the receiving party. Founding stock is typically common stock and is all treated equally in the event of a liquidation. However, venture capitalists and angel investors might prefer preferred stock for their investments to achieve higher levels of protection. Key to all is their interest in eventual liquidity. Do not sell or give away stock if your real intent is to control your company privately forever. The motivation to purchase stock is based upon a desire to sell it and make money off of the investment. If we dive a bit more deeply into each of the three cases, angels typically are from your industry and have made money in it and want to give back to the entrepreneurial community. Their terms are often less odious, but they also often take an active role, and some entrepreneurs could find them annoying. Venture investors want preferred stock. That gives them certain levels of board control and liquidation preferences. The details can be quite odious. It's important for you to understand exactly how it works. In many cases, even a minority position can control the compensation committee and control your salary. That same minority position can control the ability of the company to go and raise more money or borrow money from a bank. Stock options can be used to motivate and reward board members, vendors, employees, any external party. Few actually exercise the options. Some will make millions. Options typically vest over a period of time during which the employee or external individual contributes to the company in some other way. One interesting case to look at is the concept of convertible debt. Venture investors, and in some cases angel investors, will consider loaning you the money with an option to convert the loan into stock if and when they desire to make that action. Of course, there can be constraints defined in a contract. Stock transactions can be difficult to understand, so let me use two examples to explain how they work. In the first example, you and your partner each own 50% of a company, Acme. You each have 5,000 shares of stock, and the company is currently valued at $1 million, or equivalently $100 a share. You're approached by an investor who would like to buy 1/3 of the company. The investor, in this case, contributes their $500,000. The company prints 5,000 new shares of stock and sells them to the investor at a value of $100 per share. The new company is owned 1/3 by the investor 1/3 by your partner and 1/3 by you, each having 5,000 shares. But notice that the current valuation of the company has gone up by $500,000 to $1.5 million. It is the old company that was worth $1 million plus an additional $500,000 of cash on the company's balance sheet. Your stock value has not increased or decreased in value from this transaction. Alternatively, the investor could offer to buy stock from you and your partner and not from the company. In this case, the original valuation of the company is still $1 million and the original share price is still $100 per share. But in this case, the new investor pays $333,000, $166,000 each to you and your partner, and you and your partner deliver to the investor part of your ownership position. In this case, each of you still owns 1/3 of the company, but the valuation has not changed, and your partner's individual ownership position has declined, but you've exchanged it for cash. Often, investors will combine a purchase from the company of new shares with a purchase from founders of existing shares so that founders can enjoy some liquidity and make personal purchases that they have waited for. And that concludes this module on the selling of stock. Thank you.